That year, I was particularly poor. I was working 4 jobs at the same time, just to save money for Lucas's leg treatment. Every day after work, I would cook for him, feed him, and help him take a bath. But on the day he dressed as Mickey Mouse at the amusement park, I saw Lucas holding hands with a young and beautiful girl. He knelt down in front of everyone and put a precious diamond ring on her ring finger. After the girl left, his brothers started teasing him. Lucas is really something. A diamond ring worth $1 million. What woman wouldn't fall for you? When are you and your girl going to break up? Emma likes you so much. If she knew you had someone else, she would definitely be very sad. Lucas scoffed. Let's wait a bit longer. This game of the poor is quite interesting. I've never met anyone who loved me so obsessively. He continued speaking. Once he's had enough fun, he'll pretend to have amnesia. That way, he can easily get rid of me. He doesn't know. My biological parents have already found me. Next month, I'm going abroad with them. When I learned that Lucas was pretending to be poor and lying to me, I thought I would rush over and hit him a couple of times to expose his lies, but I didn't do that. I was trembling all over from excitement, wearing a costume in the middle of summer, completely soaked in sweat. My hair was as wet as if I had just washed it. Lucas was tightly hugging that girl in front of me. The two were lost in a passionate kiss. I looked at his healthy legs and remembered the 4 years we spent together. He often woke up in the middle of the night because of leg pain, sitting on the bed, silently crying. Lucas, you really did well. You were really convincing back in the changing room. I took off my clothes. I saw my tear-streaked face in the mirror. That day, I met Lucas. It was also a hot summer day. I had just come out of the office. I went to meet a client for a project under the blazing sun. As I reached the entrance of the cafe, I ran into 2 troublemakers. They started to harass me. They even intentionally broke my phone. They wouldn't let me call the police. People passing by pretended not to see. No one was willing to help. Lucas drove those 2 bad guys away with a stone. Then he immediately called the police. He scared them off. I was very grateful for his intervention. I wanted to invite him in for a cup of coffee, but I found him sitting on a bench outside, unable to stand up. He said a bit awkwardly, I have had issues with my calves since I was young. It can't be cured. My wheelchair was stolen. Could you help me buy another one? I will definitely pay you back. That day he added me on WeChat. Later I came to understand. He, like me, is an orphan. His family conditions are poor. He has a disability in his legs. Now he barely makes a living by running an online store. We hit it off at first sight. He confessed his feelings to me. He said he liked me the first time he saw me. I went to ask the doctor who treated him. The cost of treating his legs is very high every month, although he doesn't want me to be too tired. I still found 4 jobs. After returning home at night, I cooked dinner for him. I fed him. I helped him take a shower. Then I went out to work again. Just like that. 1,462 days, repeating every day. I put in a lot of effort to pay for his treatment. But for him, this money is hardly worth mentioning. He already has someone he likes, and he even proposed to her. But that's okay. The director of the welfare home contacted me. Tell me that my biological parents have found me. Next month, I'm going to leave Lucas, leave this city. When he returned to our shared house at night, I was sitting on the bed in a daze. I cried for too long. My tears have dried up. Lucas pushed the wheelchair in front of me. He gently touched my forehead with his warm hand. Emma, why didn't you reply to my messages? Are you feeling unwell? He touched my forehead. After finding that my temperature was normal, he breathed a sigh of relief. A gentle smile appeared on his face. He shook the bag in his hand. He looked particularly happy. Look, the supermarket has discounts on pork ribs and vegetables at night. I specifically waited until 7 to buy them. Don't you love eating braised pork ribs? The most. I'll go make some for you right now. Lucas sometimes cooks too. I don't know where he learned it. His cooking skills are quite good. A couple of days ago, he held me and said, when our child grows up, he will teach the child how to cook. I will teach the child how to read and write. We will definitely raise the child well. I was so shy that I hid in his embrace. My heart was racing. It took a while before I quietly said, "Who said I wanted to have a child with you? Don't say such things." He suddenly pushed me down. He pressed down on me. He kissed me passionately. It almost took my breath away, but later I realized. I was just a toy he kept on the side. He just found me fresh and interesting. He set the table with food. He came over to hold my hand, but I felt uncomfortable. I instinctively pulled away. A hint of sadness appeared on Lucas's face. His eyes were red. His voice was a bit choked. "Emma, Are you still mad about me secretly practicing walking last time? I'm sorry. I know I've made you worried. I promise I won't do this again in the future. Okay, he finished speaking. Teardrops kept flowing. He was also hitting his own legs with his fists. He said he was useless. He would only be a burden to me if it were in the past. I would definitely cry along with him. I would stop him from hitting himself. I would comfort him and say everything will get better. I would earn a lot of money to pay for his treatment. He will definitely recover. But now, I'm just coldly watching him hit himself. There's no fluctuation in my heart. The greasy smell of food wafted over from the table. I felt a wave of discomfort in my stomach. I couldn't help but gag. Lucas frowned. He asked anxiously, "What's wrong with you? Is your stomach uncomfortable? Just wait. I'll go downstairs to buy you some stomach medicine." He finished speaking. He gently touched my hair, let me lie down comfortably on the sofa, and carefully tuck me in with the blanket as soon as the door closed. The bracelet he left on the coffee table vibrated a few times. The bracelet is connected to his phone. He can see the messages he sent to others. Someone sent a message. "Lucas, the guys are all at the bar. Come over and hang out. There are quite a few pretty girls here. I can introduce you to them." Lucas thought for a moment and said, "Emma isn't feeling well tonight. She didn't go to work. I need to go downstairs and buy her some stomach medicine. Let's plan for next time." "No way. Lucas, you can't be falling for that poor girl, right? Let me advise you. Children from poor families are hard to deal with. Don't get tied down and find it hard to escape later. Olivia is also at your place. Are you really not planning to come over?" Seconds later, Lucas replied again, "I'll be there right away. Don't let her drink too much. She can't hold her liquor well. Also, she is now my fiancé. Don't bully her. If it weren't for Olivia being a good match for my family, I would actually marry Emma. I've met quite a few women. Emma truly stands out, both in looks and figure. She is unforgettable. Although Olivia is also good if Emma is willing in the future. She can still be with me. I quite like her. Don't tell anyone about tonight. I'll tell Emma tomorrow. I'm not feeling well. I sat by the roadside all night, forcing myself to hold on. She will definitely be very touched when she hears this. She might even cry." The brothers shared a few laughing emojis. "Say it. That's really impressive. When it comes to disciplining women, Lucas is the most capable." I'm disheartened. I threw his wristband into the trash can. My eyes suddenly felt warm. I bit my trembling lips tightly. I held my breath. I was afraid to breathe, because tears would uncontrollably flow down again. Lucas hasn't come back all night. I'm not the same as I used to be. Every night after work, I don't see him when I get home. I would anxiously go out to look for him, worried that he might do something foolish because of his problems. Thinking back now, the truly foolish one is me. I gave all the money I earned from my job to Lucas's doctor. I begged him to properly treat Lucas. I hope Lucas can bounce back. Whenever I have free time, I would push Lucas to the park for a walk, afraid he would feel too bored staying home alone. It's easy to overthink. He always gave me a sense of stability and warmth. His gaze towards me was deep and full of love. It made my heart flutter. His knowledge is broader than I imagined. He seems to know almost everything. I have asked him. He said he has loved reading since he was little, so he understands quite a lot. I believe every word Lucas says, no matter what he says. I trust him wholeheartedly. Before he even got home, I left early in the morning. I quit all my jobs. I worked so hard before, just to pay for his medical treatment. Now I'm about to go abroad. It's time to say goodbye to my bosses properly. The welfare home told me. My biological parents have found me. I originally planned to meet them in a few days, and then refused to go abroad. But it seems now, it's better for me to leave. It's rare for me to have free time. I sat in a cafe and had a latte, thinking about how to sublet my rental apartment next. But I didn't expect that Olivia, mentioned by the Lucas brothers, would come to find me first. The afternoon sun lazily shone through the cafe's stained glass, illuminating the wooden table. I looked up. I suddenly saw a familiar figure. She was so beautiful that it took my breath away under her prominent nose. Her lips were naturally rosy. She was pursing her lips. She was sizing me up. Her gaze was not very friendly. There was a hint of mockery at the corner of her mouth. "Your name is Emma." She took out 500 yuan and threw it at me. "This money should be enough for you to leave Lucas. You know Lucas's identity. How dare you casually date him? Let me tell you, he is already engaged to me. We have had a marriage contract since childhood. He went to find you. He just finds someone like you refreshing. He just wants to play around. We are getting married next month. You better leave him quickly. Otherwise, I won't let you go." A wave of bitterness surged in my heart. I held my phone tightly. The joints of my fingers turned white, but he still looked at her calmly. She stared at me for a few minutes. She asked with great interest, "Oh, so you know his true identity," she said with a smile. "That's really interesting, so interesting." Her lips curled up. She walked towards me. She reached out to touch my face. I gently pushed her away, but she suddenly screamed. Her forehead hit the corner of the table. She fell to the ground. There was a look of help in her eyes. She looked behind me. She called softly, "Lucas." I felt a tightness in my heart. I slowly turned my head. A tall figure suddenly pushed me aside. I saw Lucas walk quickly past me. He hurried to help Olivia, who had fallen to the ground. He turned his head. He glared at me angrily. "Emma, do you have a problem with your brain? Why are you bullying Olivia? Apologize to her immediately." Olivia bit her lip tightly. Her tears flowed uncontrollably. "I'm fine. It was Emma who asked me out. She said she knows you're Lucas. She also knows that we're getting married. She told me. She approached you for your money from the start. Now you've developed feelings for her. She's not far from success. She asked me if she could back out. Let her marry you. Lucas, I know you like her. In your heart, she is the most important. I respect your choice. I wish you both happiness." Lucas looked heartbroken. He tightly hugged Olivia and said, "Don't say that. Someone as scheming and poor as her. How could she possibly be worthy of me?" Lucas made a mistake, but he lost his temper first. I hadn't even had a chance to speak. He kicked over the wheelchair. He walked away with Olivia in his arms. Once upon a time, in that small, dark rental room, the walls were covered in mottled stains. The light was dim and flickered from time to time. The furniture was so old that it creaked with every move. It was particularly stuffy in the summer. There was only an old fan slowly turning. There was hardly any wind, and it was damp and cold in the winter. Even wrapped in several layers of quilts, I still felt bone-chilling cold. But in this cramped space, we promised to work hard to earn money together, to help him heal his leg together, to live a better life together. We believed we would become very happy together. I once thought, no matter how difficult the road ahead was, as long as there is hope in our hearts, we could bravely face the storms, firmly believing we could turn bitter days into sweet ones. But reality cruelly mocked my naivety. Lucas not only deceived me, he was also an irresponsible person. He moved out of the rented house. He took everything with him. This is also good, so I won't have to notify him to move out when I sublet. After returning home, I put the house up on a rental website. I waited for someone to contact me for a viewing. Then I started sorting my luggage. I was busy all night. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was a WeChat message. Lucas sent a photo. It was of my shorthand handbook for learning Russian. "I accidentally took your book. Why are you learning Russian? I'll return it to you when we meet again," I said calmly. "No need. We've already broken up. Just get rid of those books. I will buy new ones." 1 year ago, I got home from work very late. Lucas was giving me a massage on the bed. He saw the Russian travel video playing on my phone. He smiled and kissed me and said, "You want to go? I recently landed a big deal. Once I make some money, I'll take you to Russia for a fun few days. How about that?" I didn't say anything. In my heart, I was thinking our savings are nearly gone. After deducting the hospital expenses, there's only $3,000 left in the account each month. Lucas is very anxious. "Who said we broke up? Are you still angry about what happened at the cafe at noon?" He called me to explain. "When I carried her away at noon. It was just acting. You understand me. Since we were kids, you're the only woman for me. You're my one and only. You're also my everything. How could I possibly break up with you?" Lucas told me. He has been betrothed to Olivia since childhood. It's mainly for the sake of both families' businesses. He actually has no feelings for her at all. He doesn't want to be with Olivia, so he has been pretending to be a playboy in his own circle, making others think he is an unreliable person. He wants Olivia to give up on him. Olivia has liked him since childhood. No one can shake her feelings for him, plus the pressure from her parents. He can only pretend to be nice to Olivia, propose to her. At the same time, he's thinking about how to bring me home as his wife. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Then, you lied to me saying you were disabled, making me work hard to take care of you. Was this part of your plan too? You did this. Is it interesting?" Lucas's voice trembled. Couldn't help but cry. "Emma, I'm sorry. When I first met you, I just wanted to make a joke with you. I didn't expect things to turn out this way. I didn't even get a chance to explain properly to you. It's all my fault. Can you forgive me? Didn't you also love me deeply?" Otherwise, how could you remember our agreement you even learned Russian? You planned to go to Russia with me for a trip. He still doesn't know. I have decided to go to Russia with my parents, I said coldly, without a hint of emotion. You don't want to say goodbye? Then let me bring it up. Lucas, now I don't believe anything you say, and I don't want to see you again. Between us. Let's end it here. By the way, don't forget to pay me back for the medical expenses I've helped you with over the years. I will send the account information to your WeChat shortly. After saying that, I hung up the phone. I blacklisted all his contact information, so he wouldn't keep calling to annoy me. Lucas was missing for a full 3 days, and I didn't see my account balance increase. Just when I was hesitating whether to report him for fraud, he suddenly appeared downstairs at my house. I looked up. He was standing under the camphor tree, with a bright smile, the sunset's afterglow cast on his face. That gentle smile made me momentarily see him from the past. He walked over, handed me a bouquet of roses on my birthday. He also gave me the same flowers. At that time, we were living quite frugally. I immediately told him to return the flowers. He laughed and called me stingy. Now, this bouquet is in front of me again. I didn't accept it. I smiled coldly. Lucas, I'm really sorry to make you spend money. We just met. I can't accept these flowers. Lucas took a deep breath. His eyes turned red. He stood in front of me. He held me tightly. Don't do this. Emma, I love you. I truly love you. I can't live without you. If you're not by my side, I won't be able to survive. Would you be willing to watch me like this? My eyes felt warm. I turned my head away. Everything in front of me was blurry. I couldn't say a word for a moment, quickly break free from his embrace. Lucas doesn't plan to let it go like this. He asked to meet me at the Hainer restaurant in 2 days. He knows I've had a hard time these years. He just wants to treat me to a meal, to express his gratitude. And by the way, to pay me back for those medical expenses. I still decided to go. After all, that money was hard-earned. There's no need to let others take advantage. I remembered the time wrong. I arrived at the restaurant's private room 2 hours early. The door wasn't closed tightly. I could hear a woman's gasping from inside. Lucas, you can't forget Emma this easily. Isn't she just slightly better looking than me? Is she really worth your constant longing? Lucas gently played with her earlobe. As he tenderly kissed her, the woman closed her eyes, softly moaning. The man gasped and said, You don't understand. She is different from you. I truly love her. I want to spend my life with her. At that time, I'll comfort her. She has a soft heart. She will definitely forgive me. The woman gently asked, So, what about our child? You are about to marry Olivia. And now there's Emma. You won't abandon me and the child, right? Don't worry. I will buy you a villa on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'll be with Olivia on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'll be with Emma. Sundays are reserved for you and the child. They kissed passionately, accidentally bumped into the door. At the moment the door closed, my heart twisted into a knot. The pain was almost unbearable. From inside came the sound of a woman crying and banging on the door. It made my heart feel like it was falling into an abyss. I had long known that Lucas was not a reliable person, but witnessing him cheat with my own eyes, my heart still trembled uncontrollably. I gently pushed the door open a crack. I quietly extended my phone to record a video. The 2 people in the private room were immersed in passion. They completely ignored my presence. I stood at the door. I waited for them to finish. Then I deliberately walked outside. I sent a message to Lucas to let him know I had arrived. Lucas came out to greet me. He was followed by a sweet and lovely girl I had never seen before. She had a noticeable baby bump. She shyly smiled at me. She said, Hello, Miss Emma. I am Sophia, Lucas's personal assistant. Lucas didn't look at her. He directly walked over and put his arm around my shoulder, leading me inside. He had a faint scent of strawberry perfume on him. Clearly, it was left by Sophia just now. Lucas kept serving me food. The table was filled with all my favorite dishes, but I didn't touch a single bite. Sophia felt very uncomfortable, but she could only force a smile and sit aside. I couldn't be bothered to say much, just reach out and say it to him. Where's my stuff? He was taken aback for a moment. He quickly regained his composure. He took a bank card out of his pocket and handed it to me. There are 900,000 here, and there's an additional 100,000. It's my way of thanking you for taking care of me over the years. I didn't hold back. I took the stuff and turned to leave. This extra 100,000 was originally mine to take. I ran out. Lucas immediately chased after me. He grabbed my hand, not letting me go, while we were tugging at each other. I noticed the purple bruises all over his chest revealed under his collar. I looked at him coldly. He immediately avoided my gaze. He didn't dare to look me in the eye. Emma, don't overthink it. I've been a bit stressed these past few days. I had gua sha done last night. These are marks left from the therapy. I couldn't help but laugh. Just listen to yourself. You believe what you just said. He still wanted to say something more. Suddenly, the phone rang. I caught a glimpse of Olivia's name on the screen. He quickly turned the phone over to cover it. He said to me, Emma, there's an urgent matter at the company. I need to take care of it. You go home by yourself first. I'll reimburse the taxi fare. I'll come find you as soon as I'm done. I watched Lucas hurry away. I covered my eyes with my hand. Although it was summer, I felt a chill in my heart. The sincere feelings I once had for Lucas have now turned into deep resentment. I returned home. Just then, I received a message. Someone wants to rent my apartment. We arranged to meet in the afternoon. A young couple arrived. The man was handsome. The woman was very beautiful. They seemed to have a great relationship. They were very satisfied with my rental property. The house is very clean. The furniture is also complete. The woman points to the massage chair next to the sofa. She says in surprise, Emma, this massage chair is quite expensive. It still looks very new. Are you really willing to give it to us? I worked part-time as a waiter at a bar, staying up late. It was hard to save money. Finally, on this year's anniversary of our relationship, I bought Lucas a massage chair. The doctor said his leg condition is very serious. He needs regular massages for his legs and muscles to promote blood circulation, to prevent muscle atrophy. But now, these things are of no use anymore because Lucas actually isn't sick at all. Maybe he just wanted to see how hard the children from poor families work. As for what use this massage chair has, he doesn't care at all. I smiled and said, I definitely want to give you these things. I'm going abroad to find my family. These things can't be taken with me. I might not come back in the future. The woman points to a photo on the nightstand. That's me pushing Lucas in a wheelchair to a friend's wedding. It was taken by my best friend. Who is this? He looks really handsome, better looking than a celebrity. Is he your husband? You two look really well matched. I politely respond, we haven't gotten married yet. The woman says excitedly, so he's your boyfriend, right? Such a handsome guy. You're really lucky to be able to leave him. I feel very fortunate. That afternoon, after we signed the lease transfer agreement, I moved into the hotel arranged by my parents. Lucas still doesn't know what's happening. He's been texting me from different phones. Emma, I heard you moved out of your rental. Are you planning to move in with me? But you haven't married me yet. It's not quite appropriate for you to live in my house. So I bought you an apartment. You can pack your things and move over directly. I'll send you the address. Emma, why haven't you replied to my messages or answered my calls? Are you testing me? Don't worry. I can withstand all tests. I will always love you, Emma. I have already bought a plane ticket to Russia. Next month, I will travel with you. Whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. Okay, I have blocked all the phone numbers he used to contact me. Half a month has passed. I'm at the supermarket I often visit. I received a wedding invitation sent by Lucas through a friend. There was also a USB drive. He said the USB drive contains all the feelings Lucas wants to express to me. I asked him what was in the other paper bag. He was hesitant. Finally, he said it was Lucas and Olivia's romantic moments. It's prepared to be played on the big screen on the wedding day. I curiously picked it up to take a look. I couldn't help but laugh. As I laughed, I ended up crying. His brother was startled by me. He quickly went to help me buy a pack of tissues. I put the USB drive back in the bag and returned it to him. After returning to the hotel, I opened the USB drive. Lucas's seemingly harmless face immediately appeared on the screen. His lips turned pale. He stared at the screen for a long time. Finally, he couldn't help but cover his face and cry. What an acting performance. It's such a waste not to become an actor. He cried out, I'm sorry, Emma. My mom forced me with her life. If I don't get married, she will commit suicide. I really don't want to marry Olivia. I only want to marry you. He continued, don't be angry. You are the one I truly want to marry. Wait until I finalize the business deal with Olivia's family. I will divorce her. Then I will proudly marry you. He has been talking to himself throughout the entire video. He pretends to be deeply emotional. He is worried that his parents will come to trouble me, so he doesn't dare to make our relationship public. I'm no longer a child, whether what he says is true or false. Can't I see through it? The day I went abroad. Coincidentally, it was the day Lucas and Olivia got married. My best friend was extremely angry. She video called me on the spot. She told me Lucas seemed quite happy. He must be willing, she also said. Emma, don't be fooled by such a person. Someone like him, with his slick tongue, should be looked down upon by everyone. I chuckled. I said casually, I heard he got a marriage certificate. Don't worry, he will soon become the target of everyone's criticism. The scene in the video suddenly becomes chaotic. I saw the wedding venue in an uproar. The screen on stage starts playing footage from that day at the restaurant. Images of Lucas and Sophia in an intimate moment. Olivia is furious at the scene. She grabs the microphone and throws it at Lucas. Lucas's head immediately starts bleeding. Lucas's father is extremely angry. He rushes on stage and grabs him by the collar. He hits him hard 20 times. You brainless idiot. Our family's business relies entirely on Olivia's family for support. Are you trying to ruin the Lucas family? Lucas's mother kneels on the ground. She cries heartbrokenly. She sighs, wondering what she did wrong, to have given birth to such a disappointing child like Lucas. I finally let out a sigh of relief. My revenge has been fulfilled. I feel so satisfied inside. My best friend told me their wedding has been canceled. Olivia found Sophia's child's birth certificate. Lucas's name is written in the father's section. So, she sued Lucas for bigamy. As a result, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Meanwhile, I finally met my biological parents. My father was wearing a well-tailored, high-end suit. He appeared steady and dignified. The watch on his wrist was understated yet luxurious. Although time had left wrinkles at the corners of his deep-set eyes were still filled with love. My mother stood beside him. She wore an exquisite outfit. Her sleek, curled hair fell over her shoulders. Her gaze was gentle. I couldn't help but quicken my pace towards them. My heart was pounding. It felt like it was about to leap out of my chest. Memories of lonely and sad days rushed to my mind. My eyes stung, and tears flowed uncontrollably. What my mother wanted to say got caught in her throat. She just held me tightly and cried without stopping. Later I heard about it, when I was 2 years old. My mom took me to the park to play. There was a little girl my age holding my hand. We played in the sand together. My mom was talking to her mom. That girl said her dad was in the car. She asked me to go with her to get something. I was still young at that time. I thought she was a friend of my mom's with a child, so I went along with her. As a result, I was grabbed by a trafficker and had my mouth covered and was tied up in a car. Because I was so young, I don't remember how I escaped. I only remember meeting the director of the welfare home on the road. She took me to the welfare home. This big family. My dad told me. In these past 20 years to find me, he and my mom took turns managing the company for half a year. Another person went around the world looking for clues about me. The living room of my house was filled with various delivery boxes, toy boxes, newspapers, and fans. All of them had missing person notices about me printed on them, distributed to every corner of the world. My mom held my hand. With tears streaming down her face, she said, "Child, we have never given up on finding you all these years. Fortunately, last month, the director of your orphanage called. He said he saw our missing person notice on a delivery box. The photo on it looks just like you when you were a child." I held them tightly. I took a deep breath. My eyes were wet and hot. Teardrops kept flowing down from now on. I only hope that the people I love and those who love me can be safe and happy. That's enough. My family is actually quite wealthy. My parents have earned a lot. They are worth over 100 million after I got lost. They didn't plan to have another child. They kept thinking about bringing me back. My dad has a president named Ethan in his company. I heard he is my parents' trusted assistant. He is highly trusted by them. After I returned home, Ethan began to teach me about the company's affairs. They planned to train me as the next successor. We first met at a welfare center near the company. At that time, I was watching the children and teachers play a game of eagle catching chicks. One man particularly caught my attention. At that moment, a gentle breeze blew. The man's hair fluttered lightly in the front. He smiled brilliantly. His eyes were as bright as stars in the night sky. The sunlight shone on his handsome face, revealing a youthful yet determined outline. He was wearing a simple white t-shirt, paired with dark jeans and sneakers. He looked clean and fresh. He was like a mother hen, protecting the little children behind him. Upon seeing me, the man's expression changed slightly after the game ended. He came over, extended his hand, and said, "I have seen your photo. You are Emma. I am the president of Smith Group. Ethan, please take care of me." He seems a bit casual and a bit arrogant. This kind of laid-back man can really help my parents run the company well. Later, I realized I was overthinking. After 3 years of being together, he is much more stable than I thought, outside of work. He will accompany me to go hiking and rock climbing, to do the sports I used to enjoy but didn't have time for. He comes to my house every morning, punctually waking me up and making me delicious breakfasts. He said it was my parents who asked him to take care of me, to keep a close eye on me, so he can report back to my parents. We feel like old friends who have known each other for a long time. He is very gentle with me, so caring. He takes care of me very attentively. About Lucas, no one mentions it anymore. After 3 years of growth and experience, my parents trust us to manage the company with Ethan. They said they want to travel around the world and entrusted me to Ethan. They are very at ease on New Year's Eve. Every household is reunited. My parents invited Ethan's parents over for the New Year's Eve dinner. His father is refined and cultured. He doesn't talk much, but his manners and behavior are very cultivated. It's clear that he is an educated person. His mother is very talkative. She keeps holding my hand and my mom's hand. We chat about everyday trivial matters. Halfway through the meal, a sudden loud noise comes from outside the window. Beautiful fireworks burst in the sky. They instantly illuminate the night sky. Colorful and vibrant, so beautiful that it's hard to look away. Warm sunlight shines through the window. It falls on me, making me feel a wave of happiness. Just as I was immersed in this warmth, Ethan's mother suddenly asked me softly, "Emma, would you like to be my daughter-in-law?" I glanced at Ethan, suddenly feeling flustered. My heart raced, stammering and unable to speak. Didn't expect that. Ethan turned his head, his eyes filled with warmth and determination. He answered straightforwardly, "All right." At that moment, the bright light of the fireworks illuminated his face. My face also started to feel warm. The beautiful scenery outside the window seemed to add color to the joy of this moment. I got engaged to Ethan. I took him back to the orphanage where I lived as a child. We donated to help there. We rebuilt and expanded the orphanage. We also invested in a library to allow more homeless children to live better lives. Before returning to Russia, Ethan told me he had business to discuss in New York. He took me to a banquet. Didn't expect that. At the banquet, I met Lucas, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He was wearing a server's suit, serving champagne to the guests. As soon as he saw me, my hand twitched. The champagne spilled all over the floor. Glass shards scattered everywhere. At this moment, Olivia also arrived. She angrily walked up to him. She kicked him hard. "How do you even work like this? You can't even hold the champagne properly. Do you not want this job anymore? Let me tell you, if it weren't for my sympathy back then, seeing you so helpless after your parents died, I wouldn't have hired you to clean the toilets. You think you can support yourself with your abilities? Can you really survive on your own?" She gently patted Lucas's face with the back of her hand. She said with a cold smile, "If you can do it, then do it. If you can't, then leave. Don't embarrass me here." Olivia turned her head. She just happened to catch my surprised expression. She wore a condescending look. She looked me up and down for a few seconds. Then she said with a cold smile, "Oh, isn't that Emma? What's wrong? You came to my house's banquet hall. Are you also looking for a part-time job to earn money? But I'm sorry. We don't need anyone at the moment. You can go back for now." I haven't had a chance to speak yet. Lucas suddenly rushed in front of her. His eyes were red. He scratched her face with his nails. Deep scratch marks immediately appeared on her originally fair face. Blood droplets oozed from the wound. They dripped onto her white evening gown. Lucas widened his eyes. He shouted angrily, "Shut up. I won't allow you to say that about Emma." His eyes were red. His face looked very tired, but he forced a smile. He adjusted his bow tie and walked towards me. He said, "Emma, are you reluctant to part with me? That's why you came back again. Look, I didn't marry Olivia. Actually, I said I wanted to be with her, just to annoy you, who told you to act like you don't care about me. About Sophia, you should have heard about it too. She knew I went to jail. She was especially sad. As a result, she accidentally fell down the stairs. The baby was lost. Later on, I completely lost contact with her. Sophia's situation was really just an accident. If I hadn't been drinking that day, she approached me first. I wouldn't have made a mistake. These things, you should be able to understand, right? I'm not pretending to be poor now. I really have nothing left. You came to find me. You should already know my situation. My parents are gone. I'm having a hard time living now. Can you come back to me? We can work hard together like before, for our future. I will always cherish and love you, you believe me." He excitedly hugged me tightly. I didn't hesitate to slap him. The entire banquet hall fell silent. Everyone looked at me. I stared directly into his eyes. My tone was resolute. Lucas, everything is over. I no longer love you. Stop acting. You used to pretend to be poor. You thought I was simple and easy to deceive. You wanted to play with my feelings. Now you pretend to be deeply affectionate. All you want is for me to earn money to support you. You really think I can't see through you? Lucas bit his lip. Teardrops kept flowing down. It's not like this. I'm sorry, Emma. I know I've done many unforgivable things, but I swear, my love for you is real. The man lowered his head, covering the face with both hands. The back and shoulders are trembling. I couldn't hold it in. I laughed out loud. All right, even if you are sincere, so what? I'm getting married soon. You have completely lost hope. Not in this lifetime, not even in the next lifetime. Let me tell you another secret. The video of you and Sophia at the restaurant was actually recorded by me. That day, didn't you ask your brother to send me the wedding invitation? I thought I should prepare a special gift for you. When Lucas heard this, his face instantly turned beet red. He widened his eyes, staring at me angrily. So it was you who played the video at the wedding. No wonder I couldn't find out who was behind it all these years. It turned out to be you. How could you do this? Why not to people like this? I've already been quite polite. He rushed over, wanting to hit me. Ethan arrived just in time. He kicked him against the wall. He fell to the ground and spat out blood. He hasn't gotten up yet. Olivia was holding a steak knife. She stabbed it directly into his heart. Lucas's eyes widened. He turned his head in disbelief. His whole body was trembling. Olivia laughed maniacally. That's right. People like you cannot afford to be soft-hearted. I have to kill you to eliminate my hatred. Let me tell you a secret. Your parents had a chance to survive. It was I who unplugged their respirators. Oh my God, she's even more ruthless than I am. After Lucas's death, Olivia also chose to end her life. The story of this city comes to an end here, and my new life is slowly unfolding. Having kind people around me, my days are fulfilling and interesting. Happiness actually has no fixed definition. Family is always by my side, resting on time every day. Life is calm and stable. This is happiness.